Let's do it.
Let's jump in. We're going to talk about social media to begin.
Yes. Not too relevant.
Yeah. Social media. It is. It's so. I mean, you might think, well, it's not that polarizing because we have a young church, so everyone's on social media. Not everyone, but a lot of people are. I have a love-hate relationship with social media, and we can't say that it has not affected anything.
Right.
So let's talk about that first of all. How has social media, just in general, or even you specifically, how has it affected communication?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of us have become more, either we like to hide behind our platforms, right? Or we want to project and we want to say something and we want to, be on top, but then we don't want to, maybe we're not ready with the consequences of what we're saying. And so there's a lot of that happening. I think that's affected the way we communicate.
Because it's like fake life, we don't even see the consequences sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Or it's like
that's the thing
not
too.
the real world. So like someone else's response is as much of a consequence as you can get, but you're like, I'm never gonna see that person, or boom, unfollow.
Ghost them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is huge, right?
Yes. Yes. I think ghosting has become this huge thing. Like people just aren't facing things anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, I don't know, that's really unfortunate. I think we've lost respect almost.
Authenticity is a huge one, because like you mentioned, like how many times have even us, or for you watching, where you're sending a message or a text message or an email and you sit there for a few minutes editing, trying to make it look good, trying to maybe sound a certain way. And it's tough because you can't do that in real life. You have to face the consequences of what you say. You can't just backspace stuff, right? And so there's it's easy to be
Delete.
yeah, exactly, right? And so exactly, yeah.
Oh man.
You have those people though who text you like one word at a time because they're actually just thinking as they're.
That's me, guys.
No, just send me one text,
Please. Just think of what you're gonna say.
I either do it like I go and give you a book, or I give you like one word at a time.
That is, you are on both ends of the spectrum there. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. I think another thing with social media, for me personally, I think what's been good about it is it's caused me to think a lot about like being authentic and being true to myself, and then being comfortable with like being the same on a public platform as I am in person. And I think that's really important. Like if you're going to have a public platform, let it be authentic, let it be real, but then at the same time being careful not to, because I think for a while I was like, am I doing this for attention? Like, you know?
Yes.
I think that's another.
I mean,
That's yes. Like,
were you
are you
asking
agreeing?
I don't do it for attention.
Yeah.
But that is where so many people are getting their attention, whether they think that consciously or cognizantly or not. That is because you get this like endorphin dopamine rush from a like, or a comment on your post. And even if you aren't doing it for attention, there's that residual attention garnering effect.
Right. Yeah.
That keeps you in it.
Yeah, like that validation, right?
Yes.
Like, oh, validate me. I saw something where someone said that, like, where you're just posting and then you're having validation time. Like, you're like, oh, did they like did they like my post?
Oh,
you know?
Man.
Yeah.
This person that I don't actually remember who that is. Do they like me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's the instant gratification, right?
Totally.
You post something and you're, how many times have you posted something and you check it 5 seconds later just to see if somebody liked it, right? That's probably a sign of something going on in your heart, right?
Yeah.
And so, totally all those things I agree with.
Yeah.
I mean, the platforms, guys, are, inherently narcissistic.
Yeah.
Like, you have to fight to not be narcissistic.
Yes. Yeah.
Like this, like essentially, you have in your account, you have to not post about anything about yourself to not be to not fall into that or stumble into that.
Yeah.
So, how have you seen that play out in our culture? Have you seen that play out in your experience? Talk to that a bit, because there's been a huge uptick in narcissism with psychologists and therapists and people they're talking to. Social media has a big part to play in that. And you might say to yourself, well, I'm not that way because I think poorly about myself, or I don't think about myself. But to be a narcissist, you don't have to think, you don't have to be arrogant.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
why don't you guys talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think when you have a platform that's focused, supposed to be a brand of yourself, I think you're naturally going to be a narcissist. I think it's just leading you in that direction. I think I would say, though, like, if you are, and this is why it's like a love-hate relationship. I think with social media, if you are content, like if you're focused on creating content to benefit other people, and like you're thinking about your community, thinking about, you know, how to add to a conversation and not make it about yourself, I think then you do have the potential to use your social media platform wisely. But I think it's a battle.
Because even for churches or organizations or companies, but even for churches, it's a battle.
Yeah.
Right. Look at our church and look at what we're doing and look at this and how do you trying to figure out how to balance exactly what you said. How do we do this for the benefit of others and push the mission of God forward, rather than say, hey, look at what we're doing over here, so you can like what we're doing and be excited about that thing.
Yeah.
I found what's at least one practical thing that's been helpful for me because I don't post too much or maybe even at all on social media, but if I do post something, I kind of take a moment to do a heart check. Like, why am I posting this? Is it because I'm trying to get validation, because it's self-seeking, like my motives are just for myself?
That's a great practical.
Something just, and really quick, and you'll either find like, oh shoot, I'm doing this because I'm bored or because for myself, or I'm actually doing this to benefit other people, right? So just like that quick moment to think through it can really do so much, right? And so I would just share that.
Yeah, that's really good.
There's a great book for you guys out there that Daniel and I have read. We've taken some youth leaders through it, called Reclaiming Conversation by Sherry Turkle. And she was, I can't remember, she's at one of the Ivy League schools, Harvard or something, or MIT. She was at before too. It's not a Christian book. It's a secular book. It was a bestseller, I think. I don't know. Whatever. But it's so good about how your brain is just forming because of, we're talking about social media right now, but just technology in general, right? And all of us are in that now, full on, and just how technology has shaped us and how it continues to, and so even when you're talking about television or movies or music or your phone or tablets, like, I don't care what your device is, the medium of social media and all that the social media, actually, the medium of social media comes through all those devices. I'm sure some of you guys have had this experience. I'm sure you guys have seen this. I've seen a couple out on a date, and it was a two-person table. They both sat down at the table and then pulled out their phones right away and just looking at their phones. And I'm like,
it's so sad.
Yeah,
it is.
Are they just like tweeting back and forth to each other? Like, it's so sad. Or I've seen a whole family out and they've been in a restaurant and all they see is the glow of each of their iPads in their face. I was like, why'd you even go out?
Exactly.
And so different practical things like the heart check, or even rules if you're a family saying, hey, we're not going to have devices after 6 p.m. Or at the dinner table at least. But like, I put my phone away. I'm going to be with my children and my wife. And you can text me after that. You can shoot me a message, but I'm rarely going to respond unless I'm waiting for something, right?
Yeah.
At certain times. Or on Sabbath. Like I don't even look at my phone on Sabbath. So if you're wondering why on a Saturday you don't hear back from me, that's why. There's different things. And so with social media, let's finish up this conversation with what are some practicals like what you said, Daniel, that you can take in a social media to fight against the narcissistic tendencies, or I mean just the fake world of it. Yeah, what are some other practicals you guys think?
Yeah. I think like being just mindful of why you have social media is key. Like, are you on it just because everyone else is on it? Is that really a good reason? And I think being mindful of like how you use social media, because I do think it could be a good use if you're taking in certain types of content that is helpful for you, conversations that you want to add to. And I think so it's just being mindful and aware, and also just being really aware of what it can do to you. And start noticing your habits, like, is your phone the first thing you grab in the morning, and is it Instagram that you pop up? And that happened to me a couple years ago, and so I took a break from it. And so I think it's just good to...
Now she's full on back.
She's full on back. No. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. She's back.
No. But I think it helped me reevaluate even like, why am I coming back, first of all? And what's going to be different this time around? Is it going to be different? And I think asking those questions is huge.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying with your practical. And I love the mindfulness of it, because think about it. If you're mindful and aware of it, you won't just get caught up in the feed and forget why you came on there in the first place. And then 10 minutes later, you're on this and you're like, shoot, what did I come on?
What was I supposed to message?
So I actually never look at the feed. And I'm not saying you should do that as a practical. That's just me. One, I don't care. I'm like, if you want to share something with me, well, let's have a real relationship. Like, you can share it with me. And I get it, guys. I know I sound like a dinosaur, like, because real relationship can happen on social media, and we're trying to do that with the church's social media and things like that. But nothing replaces face to face. So, and I just don't want it to be a distraction for me. So I never look at it. And people always say all the time, they're like, hey, did you see my... And I'm like, no. Why don't you tell me about it? I didn't see that. You know what? I'm not spending my day looking at your life and what you're doing. But if you want to share it with me, we want to live it together, let's do it.
You want to be a part of their life, not just look at it from a screen.
I don't want to be a voyeur,
exactly.
Like, I don't want to be peeping on your life. Like, just share it with me. Let's live life together. And that isn't quite that. And we've replaced that for community. And that's why we want to say, how do we deconstruct culture and reconstruct true community? And you see all these ads for Facebook. Guys, even Visa has an ad out there that we're a community. And I'm like, man, come on.
Visa?
Yeah, they say we're not a credit card company. We're a community. I'm like, no.
I'm sold here. Let me sign up.
If we're a community, stop charging me 25% interest or whatever it is, right?
That's funny.
That's why I don't even use them. So, well, actually, so here's the thing with social media. We'll finish on this. Social media is a tool, and I love how you said that. We can use social media for good, but so many of us have become the tool. And
are we using social media, or is social media using us, right?
Yeah. And so same thing with the credit cards. Like, I'm not gonna let them use me. I'm gonna use them for points and things like that.
Free trips.
But for free trips, yes. But same thing with social media. How do we use it for good?